So for this episode of the SYNTHO podcast, I am joined by the guy that broke the internet in 2020, and his name is Suart. We do a very in-depth conversation here, all things music, bit of business, personal development stuff, and to be honest, it went really, really well, and I'm sure you're going to love it. So without further ado, enjoy. So we'll roll from here, mate. We'll start off with the nice question of how's life?
Life is good. Yeah, life is good. I'm feeling really blessed with the position I'm in now. I've had a decent lockdown, and I hope sort of that people getting inspired by sort of this transition I've made from like last year till now. I hope people feel that inspiration, you know. So I just feel in a really, really good place, and I'm taking some needed time off right now just to recalibrate. As you know, like it's essential that you rest and reflect, as well as keep pushing forwards for the future. So yeah, man, I'm feeling really good. How's life treating you? I've seen you nailing the productions, just like an absolute machine.
It's such a funny question because I keep asking everyone else's question at the start of the podcast. Then whenever asked me, I'm like, it's actually quite hard to answer. But if I'm completely honest, good. With everything I've done over the lockdown, I'm definitely come out in a better place. But yeah, I think sometimes when a lot of people have struggled through it, it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, well, it's been good for me, because you almost feel.
I agree. There's an element of that. Like you don't want to almost be like not rubbing in people's faces, but just like some people just haven't had a good time for whatever reason in that situation. You don't want to be like, you know, I've had a really great lockdown. It's been really good, and you might be seen as someone who can't like empathize with how the other half live or how it is for other people's situations. But no, man, I'm looking really positively at everything. Working hard on sort of music. Which is something that in the last season, because it was so intense, I didn't have time to just sit down with the laptop, you know. And yeah, so that's coming this year. My releases, that's something I'm really looking forward to. It's just, you know, I've been writing music for 3 years, but it's like I'm playing music from people that have been making it for 15 years, and so like that's the music that I aspire to release, kind of thing. And there's this element of I'm not there yet, so like. Because I could have had releases, like I've been offered a couple, but it's like I don't want to put something out there that I'm not fully confident in. Like I wouldn't put an edit out that I'm not happy with the way it is or the way the comedy comes off. So similarly, like if you're not feeling what I want you to feel with the music, or I'm not feeling it, then I just won't. I'm not ready to release it. So like with your first release, when were you?
It's funny, I've spoke about this quite a lot as well. I did a recent module on SYNTHO, the SYNTHO guide to releasing music, and I spoke with Katie about this last week, and we just said that I think now more than ever it's quite good because you can choose SoundCloud, some previews, dip your toes in with Bandcamp, see if you get any momentum that way. But yeah, I think it's good to hear from you. Obviously, you've got a really good following, that you're really willing to be patient despite the offers being there. I think a lot of people are so like, I need to release music thinking it's going to change anything, but unless the music's got any substance behind it, it won't change anything, unfortunately.
That's it. And me, like, especially like, what I don't want people to view this as is almost like, oh, that's the kid that like is the gimmick and then he sells out kind of thing. Like I don't like with the music, like I've always tried to come from a very credible place in terms of what I play on the live streams and what I play in the club sets. So like to then go and release like on a major record label and just like sell out and have a ghostwriter, like the offers are there, but I just don't want to do that for myself. Do you know what I mean? Because then when I'm there, I'm like, I could have just done this myself and it just take twice the amount of time, 3 times the amount of time. But at least, you know, it's a self journey ultimately. Like when you're 70, you want to be fulfilled in yourself as a human, not by what other people think of your possessions. And, you know, he knows this famous guy and he hangs out with these guys. That's not going to fulfill you, other people's opinions. So in your own journey, you need to make sure that you're true to yourself. And that's something that I'm so conscious of doing as a music producer. Like I sit here and I go, hate it. Oh, okay, I like that sound. And then I'm like an hour and a half in, but it's getting me a lot further than just putting it off and going, oh, I'm going to sign to a decent label when someone approaches me or whatever. I've just never been like that. So yeah, man. And I know you've been producing for, what is it, 9 years?
I always get the numbers mixed up.
25
now, and I think I got Logic when I was 17, 16.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
Yeah. It's not like an overnight thing. It's
no
patience, but I think we should take it back to anyone that's watching this, if they've somehow not seen Suart on their Instagram feed by some miraculous, don't know if you've been living under a rock, I guess.
Yeah.
Who is Suart and how did it begin?
Suat, okay, Suat initially was like a persona. So my full name is Zachary and the middle name is Suat, which a lot of people don't know.
It's a cool middle name. Do you say middle name?
Man. Yeah, it's my middle name. So it's my Turkish Cypriot granddad's first name. So like I'm Turkish Cypriot, my dad's Turkish Cypriot, and his dad is Turkish Cypriot. And so, for example, my cousin is called Sabri, which is my last name, Suat Sabri. That's his full name. Same first and last name. So my middle name is Suat. And it became amongst my friends like this persona when we were out, you know, doing whatever, like having shenanigans. I would turn into Suat. So that's how it started. Then I went to uni and like I hated uni. I wasn't DJing at this time. And I finally like plucked up the courage to leave and just like sack it off and like say to my parents, you know, because ultimately it was my parents. It was like, I've got to tell them that I'm sacking my really good degree off. Do you know what I mean? And then I found music, and then, you know, the DJing took off from the moment that I sort of started doing it. I always wanted to make videos, right? Like I always made like Jackass. I would say Jackass like that because that's how it's recognized. Jackass videos. When I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, like hiding in the golf course bushes, like with a foghorn, just to make video content. I was always doing that, right? And even like at uni and stuff, like I would film stuff, but I wasn't really my own person at uni. Like I was in a depressed state. Like I wasn't myself. All I had was like the gym, which a lot of people can relate to in this time, or exercise or fitness or well-being. Like that's something that you hold on to because it's almost like in a form, it's meditation. If you can do something religiously every single day, like I've seen you with your walking, like even though you're not meditating, you're concentrating for a sustained time on one particular thing. For that moment that you're thinking about running and you're breathing or whatever it is, you're not thinking about the outside world. So like I was properly into the gym, like fucking bodybuilding, like squatting a ridiculous amount of weight for this little 18-year-old that had no friends. And so yeah, I dropped out of that situation and I found music, right? And then my first video was plugging into my Audi. I didn't have a sound system, so I plugged it into the Bose sound system in my car. And I just sat on my high street with my decks plugged in, and like straight away people were like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this. This is the best thing ever. Like I was just using my car battery to power my decks. The video did really, really well online. And I was like, I think I've got something here.
So when was this? When was this first initial?
I looked on my page. You can go on my page and just scroll all the way down. It's 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 years ago. And like that video I was happy with this. Like video got like 1,000 views and maybe 30, 40 likes. And it's just me playing like commercial bass line, like music that I detest now, just on the high street. So I just knew I had something there. And it's, to be honest, since then, I've just been non-stop Suat. Like I was literally just like doing anything I could to get by so that I could keep making videos and free up my time in making videos. So like I've done all kinds of jobs in the period of leaving uni to where I am now, like location caterer, just like selling my soul and getting up at 3 a.m. to deliver food for like a TV audience or whatever it is, like film and TV shoots was that job. I've done gardening, like I've done all kinds of stuff. And now I'm at this point now where I'm so fulfilled in myself that this is my job kind of, you know, from monetizing various avenues. This is like what I can do for the rest of time. And it just so happens that I also want to make music, and that will happen in its own pace and time. But yeah, so, you know, we spoke about how lockdown might not be good or bad, might not be necessarily good for some people, pardon me. For me, like the idea came as a result of lockdown. We knew it was going to get locked down. And me and my mum were in the kitchen one day and we were like, we're going to have to like up the ante and monetize this situation, that the fact that everyone's at home, the fact that there's this captive audience now, and people are going to need that. You know, people are going outside to clap for the NHS. There's this massive community sense. So I built the rig. Which you've probably seen. And what it does, it allows me to take a Pioneer XDJ RX2 controller wherever I can walk, basically. Wherever I can fit widthways and walk, like I can do that with my equipment. And the opportunities that are rising now out of this, like my wildest dreams in terms of, I've wanted to go to the Great Wall of China. I've wanted to go to Chichen Itza in the mountains. And like these opportunities are coming just from me, just from a kid and his phone walking around with his DJ decks. And that's something that I always try and push. It's like, we're in this internet era where you can send millions of dollars in a cryptocurrency to a different location in minutes, completely secured. Or, you know, there's stem cell research that can cure or regenerate whole bodies. And the internet is at our disposals to make whatever we want to make. Like you with your production courses, like you can be anything if you have a camera and proof that you're doing it and a unique selling point. Like you literally can, because you can monetize from your mobile phone by making content on your mobile phone for free. And that's what people don't understand. And nowadays, like, you know, if I wanted to become the top funeral director in the world, I could search on the internet or Google or Wikipedia, how do you generally direct a funeral? And I could learn how to do that if that was really the only thing that like I wanted to do. And thankfully, like in this day and age, the internet era, you can express your passion online and people can pick up on that, and then you can make it your career and living. And I just feel like not enough people know that. So I always try and tell people that, like, my mate is in FaZe Clan. His name's FaZe K. He's a good friend of mine. And he was in a similar place to where I am. He was there maybe 3 or 4 years ago, where he was like, I've got this amount of followers and, you know, it's really going well, but mum doesn't want me to leave home yet. She's scared that I'm not going to make enough money off it, blah, 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 blah. And then now, like, seeing his growth as a YouTuber, like, made me go, you know, fuck this university shit. Like, I'm going to go and do this right now. And yeah, so he's a big sort of role model for me, is Fraser. And now, you know, he's sitting on 5 million YouTube followers in a house in Beverly Hills, getting his meals and car and everything bought for him. And not that that's by any means a measure of happiness, but it's a good metric to see how far you've come. If, you know, if one day you're playing video games in your bedroom, or in my case, making a video on my high street, and then the next day you're getting paid to go and do a gig for whoever, massive corporate or whatever it is, a festival, it's that same thing. It's like, this is how I measure how far I've come. Not that, I mean, obviously, you know, a supercar makes you happy, and all of the bills that go with that make you happy, I'm sure, and having really nice things that make you happy. But again, it's the same. The ultimate happiness is going to come from self-value and the value of the people who surround you and how grateful you are for where you are in this place. But followers are a great metric to see how well have I improved in the last year or 6 months. Oh, my followers have doubled. Great. I'm doing something right. But what a lot of people don't do is they don't stick in the game, and they don't stick with their head down for long enough to see that graph, right? If I showed you my followers over a month, right, the followers are probably going to do this, fluctuate down a bit, and then probably finish overall slightly higher. If I can show you my follower growth over a year, there's so much more data there to be analyzing, to be saying, okay, this is the actual trend. Look how it's exponentially growing. People don't stick in the game for long enough to even see a gradient increase, because people don't know what it means to post 4 times a week on all social media platforms for a month. Do you know what I mean? Just stuff like that is why a lot of people don't get to do what they're happy with. They don't just stick at it for long enough. Like, there's 3 years before you make any sort of success of grinding, blood, sweat and tears, waking up early, getting a cold because you're worn into the ground. Like, there's that all goes with it. Obviously, you can look up any Instagram page for motivation and it will say, you know, you got to consistently work hard and you got to do all of the cliche stuff, which obviously, you know, but it's what that actually looks like. Everyone knows you need to work hard, fine, but what does that actually look like? Getting up early, making sacrifices with your social life, with your physical life sometimes, even though exercise is essential. You might have to put off going for a run so that you can make a deadline or whatever it is. So yeah, so I'm waffling. You go.
No, mate, you've just brought up so many points I have mentioned.
Sorry, I just go off on a tangent.
No, that's really good, mate. Cause I knew this conversation was going to be good because we've already spoke before on Zoom, like before Christmas, and like I wish that was a podcast in itself. Because I remember we really went into topics that I'm passionate about, and you clearly switched on. I want to go back to when I discovered you. At first, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, I was like, right, what the fuck is this guy doing? It's another guy doing something daft on social media. I'm not interested. I'm doing my own shit. I think it's a similar trajectory of when I started SYNTHO, of like we're on this same line. And then I don't know why, I think I went onto your Instagram, like I must have thought this I actually like what he's doing here. And I saw you do a story and you were talking about similar values of the consistency. And then I was like, hold on a sec. This guy's been reading some of the same shit I've read, because I know the power of consistency. And it's about doing and turning up and making and creating. And then I was like, shit, right, let's like have a look. And then I went on your Instagram and I started to see that like this wasn't just a joke that you were just turning up and DJing. I realized there was a strategy behind what you were doing. You were serious, and there was a vision and a bigger than just turning up with your decks. There was something bigger coming from it. And I was like, shit, this guy actually is serious. And then I think when I realized that, then I took you serious. And I'm sure, like, I think we even spoke about this. One thing you found was that people kind of thought it has been a bit of a joke for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's trying to transition from the it is fun and it's humorous, but that doesn't mean it's not serious. Like there is
definitely. There's definitely a fine line. And I think it's a lot about how you represent yourself. You know, if someone wanted to have a conversation with you or ask for an interview and you were just like taking the piss all the time, do you know what I mean? There's some characters like that just can't take it seriously. I think you are your brand, right? So if you can represent yourself in a clean, professional way, no matter what you're doing, when you're that person and in character or as that brand, if you can represent that business, you know, in a professional manner, then it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like, people know after 3 years that I'm serious about it. Like, the music's serious and I wouldn't settle for anything else. Like, there's a reason I haven't just done season 3 and come back with Countryside and with Suart again, just the same stuff that I was doing for 6 months up until Christmas. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to come back with something fresh. Like, first we came back with that sneaking thing, which was like, now I'm going to try and sneak into a place past security with the decks in my bag and do a set inside. So now we're looking for a way, right, how can we push the boundary? How can we take the equipment to that level that it's not been taken before? You know, already, like, with the rig that I've got, I'm super nimble with it. Like, I can jog with it, and you can't see that, which is funny when I run with it, right? Because it's kind of stabilized. You can't see me running with it when it's on a live stream, so it just looks like I'm going quite quickly. But like, if you saw my legs, like I proper pick up some pace with that thing. So like, that's where I want to go with it. Like, it's serious, but you can do serious while having fun with it, and while being lighthearted with it, and while including more than just the 18 to 25 demographic, because I'm doing it inside Tesco and I'm doing it at the park. And there's no tunnel visioning of the demographic. It's so broad because it includes people that like tourism, it includes people that like music, it includes people that like comedy. There's so many aspects to it. So for anyone that's like trying to build a brand or trying to establish themselves, I always refer to like the Venn diagram. So like, when you were at school, like in maths or whatever, you've got like one circle, and almost like a 3, right? So the more you can hit the intersection of a Venn diagram, the bigger the demographic. Here's an example, right? At the start of lockdown, I've always been DJing, right? So that's my DJing demographic and people that like live streams. And now I'm going to cook and DJ at the same time. So if I put sushi in the caption or whatever it is that I'm cooking, I'm including people that like sushi and DJing. If I can include people that like sushi, DJing and comedy, there's just way more people there that are going to view the content. So instead of like, there is this massive sense in the music industry that's like, I'm too cool for this and I have to do this and I have to play this music because it's so underground and whatever. But like, if you can break the mold and do something that's what everyone else is doing, but in a better way or a more fun way or a more valuable way. When I say valuable, I mean when people watch it, they get value from it. What is that value? They've had a laugh. They've heard some music that they've not heard before. They've seen London if they're from China or anywhere else. So hit the intersection on the Venn diagram, that part where all of the demographics intersect, and just have a unique selling point and just drill away at it for time. Like, you're an example of someone who has a very unique workshop online, and you've been drilling away at it, and now it's making success and it's paying your bills and it's helping everyone around you. Do you know what I mean? Because you're getting that value exchange. People pay and they get tips that they've never known before. They get this much further in making music and beats. So if you can set up a value exchange that's unique, that's how you win at this game right now, especially given the fact that there's no market for clubs. there's a lockdown on indefinitely. No one knows really when it's going to end. They could just say there's another virus. They could say there's another strain. So instead of waiting, just bust out of the framework. And all it takes is to have a unique selling point and to hit multiple demographics consistently.
Yeah, I think it's amazing you brought up the different demographics. It's something I've really been preaching for the return of raves after this, like something I've really thought about for hide and seek, you and me, and trying to expand who we're hitting, not just think about the same people. I think it's really easy to be blind to other markets and only focus on what you're into yourself.
Definitely.
And that's why it's important to speak to different people, find out what different people want as well, and do your research. But one thing I want to talk about is that you just mentioned is noise and signal. And you're referring to people often don't spend long enough at something to get real signal. They're looking in every single day and it's just noise. You can't make sense of noise. You need to do something for at least 6 months to a year to get some real signal to see where you're at. Exactly. If you run a sponsored ad, for example, for 3 days or 24 hours, that's just noise. It's not giving you a true reflection if the ad's successful or not. You need to leave things to run for a week or 2 weeks.
Exactly.
If you want to get better at yoga, you can't do it for a week and then be like, oh, yeah, it's
I'm a
not
yoga
worked.
master.
Yeah, you need to do it for 6 months, for a year. Then you'll be able to see the difference then.
Yeah, definitely. I think people need to appreciate as well, like, it's this, like you said, signal and response thing. It's like, but even once you signal and response, even if you're doing it for a sustained period, what I'm doing today is occurring online in the future, in months or in 2 months. Like if I make a really good video and it bangs online, right, a couple of people are going to see that video over the next 4 weeks. Then when I post another video, I'm in people's minds and they go, okay, yeah, we're going to book him, right? But it's because of that first initial video that made me present in their minds that the second video confirmed that. So like, there is a massive lag time with stuff online. Like, it just takes time, and like all of a sudden stuff will start coming in out of nowhere. And it's just, have you got the right recipe, right? Is your timetable and the way you go about your week, is that optimal for what you're doing? Okay. And then if it's doing well online and you're noticing an upwards trajectory, whatever it is, you're getting more plays, you're getting more downloads, you're getting more buys, you're getting more views, whatever it is that's your metric. And as long as that's increasing, it's only a matter of time before you start getting bookings or monetization from the platform. But a lot of people, like you say, they don't stick in for long enough to even register if they're getting an upwards trajectory, let alone monitoring that and watching that upwards trajectory grow and saying, yeah, what I'm doing is optimal. How can I tweak this? How can I change this? Like, you've got to be someone who's analytic with this online stuff. You just do. You have to be smart about it, because Instagram and Facebook don't want you to know how they work. So for the ordinary person who's posting, like, they'll think that this is working, and but a real analytic person who's infatuated with the insights will check it and say, this works. This 3-minute video posted in 9:16 aspect ratio really works online. Let's continue doing more of these, as opposed to going, I don't know why that one worked. Let's not do that again, just in case it doesn't do well or whatever. Like, that's just something I'll say online, and that's more specific to me and like the YouTube direction. But whatever your metric is, if it's not growing, then you're wasting time. There can be something that can be tweaked to make that grow, provided you've done it for the right amount of time and you've got all of the things set up for success, like the USP and the lifestyle plan and all of that stuff. You know all of that stuff. But if you're monitoring it and there's no results, you wouldn't keep putting money in something that is not going up if you were investing, right? So if you keep putting your time into something and you're not getting a positive gradient on the graph, you're not getting an increase, then why are you continuing to dedicate my time or money into it?
Yeah, I think it's Einstein quote, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is insanity. You need to change it up. And I think a big thing is inputs and outputs. If you're doing average shit and not being consistent with it, you're going to get average results. It's going to be shit.
Yeah.
And this kind of sounds crazy, but being consistent is almost like extraordinary these days. I think it's what people struggle with the most. And I think if you want to get extraordinary results, you need to do extraordinary things put into it.
Definitely. Definitely. I think you need to be able to put into something consistently.
I think to get good at making music, right, it's not really a spectacular thing. And you don't have to do spectacular things to get there, but the consistency in itself is kind of spectacular. If I said to someone, all you do is make music for 1 hour a night a week, it sounds like, oh, that's easy. But I reckon the average person listening to this, who's an aspiring DJ, struggles to put 3 hours a week together making music. When they actually, if they actually, like you just said, analyzed it, had the metric as this year's goal is to make music 3 hours a week, analyze it each week. Did I do 3 hours? If you actually ticked it off, I reckon people would have a massive shock, not just in music, but in everything, all their values in life. What's your main goal? And then they told you the goal. Okay, how many hours a week are you actually spending on that? I reckon they would be absolutely gobsmacked by the lack of time they're dedicating to what they consider actually their priority.
Yeah, definitely. It's like if you want to get better at anything, what do you have to do? You have to put time into it, obviously. So, but what I have to do to actually learn stuff is try that thing and fail in whatever aspect it is. As long as I fail, then I can take something away from that session. So going daily is another thing, like something that I've learned recently. It's much better for me and the way my lifestyle is set up, because I can't spend a continued like 8 hours in the studio. I do 2 hours here, 2 hours in the evening, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours, and sort of dot it around. And just from doing it every single day, right? Taking this kick drum and then making it into a loop, and then breaking out of that loop into the arrangement, just by getting to that stage over the course of a week or half a week or whatever it is, you encounter so many hurdles. Oh, this is a shortcut I didn't know that I could do. Or, oh, I now know how to MIDI map that when I never even knew that I could use this before. So, but what happens if you don't do it something daily, or at least, 3 times a week? You're not experiencing enough. The work isn't close enough together, and you're not experiencing it enough to have those downfalls which make you learn something new. At least that's my opinion. Like with anything that I've done, whether it's gym, or when I was trying to do powerlifting and just like I said, lift weights for a living, like you have to turn up every day, or at least 5 days a week, because you have to treat it like it's your job. And like, this is the thing that I want to ultimately do when I'm 60 or 50 or whatever. So if you if you can't start when the work is really hard with doing it 5 days a week, then you'll never get to that stage of where it's really easy and you don't have to work at all.
Yeah, I think the frequency of a exercise, a session, the more frequent you do something, the easier it is to build up the habit. So say you make music every day, or you make music once a week, it's easier to do it every day for less time than do it once a week, because it only takes one hurdle in your life to happen on the day you're going to make music to it be gone. Then you're 2 weeks without making music. Then it's the same with running. I walk every day for 5K as soon as I wake up, and then I run maybe like once or twice a week. But the runs are way easier to miss and skip because they're not as frequent.
More daunting.
I know, and I think the more you do something, I know it sounds obvious, but this is the whole paradox of consistency and success, that it's not really that complicated on paper, because like, all you're doing is just recording yourself DJing once a week.
Yeah.
How easy is that? But it actually is kind of extraordinary to do that, because people can't do it.
Definitely. And I think again, if you've got it set up in the right ways, if you set yourself up for success with some of the things that I mentioned earlier, then you won't get disheartened, because you'll be confident in your project. You'll know that it's going on an upwards trajectory, and you can kind of be at peace with knowing that if I just keep drilling away, good shit's going to happen. Like,
no one else is to keep drilling away. Like, the numbers of people I know that are actually getting after it consistently is scarily low.
It's low, and it's easy to fall into a pit at this low time, a metaphorical pit of dwelling and negativity. Look outside, it's like snowy, it's freezing, there's no cars on the road, it's in a lockdown. But like, this is the most powerful thing, is one's mindset
and how you talk to yourself.
Yeah. Like, if you're the type of person that goes, oh, like, I'm just going to lie in bed all day, like I'm sad about my breakup or whatever, then you're never going to get after it, even in your wildest dreams. But it's so easy to make that switch as well. Like, I deal with a selection of Patreons, and these are like guys who pledge me and who support the project, and who are more like deeply involved with decision making and kind of that stuff with my project. And there are a variety of all kinds of people from all different places, boys, girls, and they're not that 18 to 25 demographic, right? And, you know, I constantly speak to people about, it's so easy to just do a perspective change. It's so easy to just say, right, now I'm going to look at life from the other side of the coin, or how the other half live, or how it could be in a worse situation. So it's very easy to go, oh, this room's freezing, like mum's not put the central heating on, like, oh, I haven't even had any breakfast yet, woe is me. It's very easy to fall into that place, especially if you've had things like a breakup, or you're worried about financial issues or social issues, or, you know, your dad left you, or whatever it is, right? Whatever your situation is that you're dwelling over. But it's so easy to make this choice to say, wait, but I'm living inside four walls. I have got food in the fridge, and I don't need to worry about my next meal. And I'm happy for everything that I've been given and grateful for in life. And what people can't go is that they go, oh yeah, I know that I'm grateful, and like, I know that it could be worse and stuff. So then act like it. Act like today is like your final days. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are so easy to, how many depressed people are between the ages of 18 to 25? And what are they depressed about? Social media. They're depressed about where they are right now. But what if people could just have this knowledge that you can make a fucking change to that just by changing the way you look at stuff, by simple habits. Walking often, clear the head, that's a form of meditation. Running, that's a form of meditation. Meditating, that's a form of meditation. Like, if people could just all have that, almost if this was a curriculum at school, right, is mindfulness and how to get yourself out of a hole, how many less deaths would there be? How many less suicides would there be? People don't know this shit. Like, it's a fucking perspective change. I hated myself when I was at university. I fucking wanted to kill myself when I was at university. But then you can get yourself out of this place. And now look how far I've come from then. So, like, if people could get inspired by the fact that it's a fucking simple switch that you've got to do one day. Have a black coffee, have some water, go for a walk, clear your head, and work out what the fuck you want to do in life. Or you can spend the next 25 years dwelling and doing shit you don't really want to do, and your heart's never ever in it. And then by the time you're 60, you've got this feeling of unfulfillment because you didn't do what you truly loved, and you could never put your full heart into something, and just stuff like that. I'm scared of getting to that dead age where you've got nothing to represent yourself for. And people should know that they don't have to get to that dead age with nothing that they can represent themselves for.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think in a lot of cases, though, people are, it's beyond just the daily habits, and they struggle with things deeper down. Because I know people myself that they're fully, they are full of good habits, and they do everything, but sometimes it gets the better of them. But yeah, I think a lot of people just start on the surface that are not like suffering with mental health to a serious degree. It's just a matter of, like you say, perspective change. But I think in some cases it can be a lot deeper.
Of course, you know, I'm excluding severe tragedies and real stories like that. Obviously, that you need support in those situations when, you know, if the worst has happened. But on the whole, you know, there's a lot of dwelling on social media. There's a lot of, mate, just like I went on my girlfriend's TikTok the other day on the For You page, and it's just like full of girls like just posing or dancing or just like essentially jiggling. And it's like, is that what this society has come to? This is a different level, like, because of the internet. The internet is not the problem. It's how it's being used. The internet is the most revolutionary tool in the last 100 years ever. You can do anything with the internet. You can do anything from fly a drone to get drugs in the post to letter bombing your mate in the post, just for an example. But it comes with its absolute demons, and it's not the issue isn't the internet. The issue isn't the social platforms. It's how people are using them, and it's how the human brain is more attracted to the girl that's stretching than the guy who's looking at Pokemon cards. That's just the human brain, the instinctiveness. But it's how people are using that as a harness for, you know, I'm going to make my living as an Instagram model who does nothing but prance around in gym wear. Like, and people are aspiring to be that in their life. You know, 9 to 12-year-olds are aspiring to be Instagram models to the point where they're fucking wearing next to nothing on TikTok. And people are saying that the issue is the social medias. That is not the issue. The issue is the way that society is is paying essentially for these people to become Instagram. Like there's no page 3 anymore, but there's even worse on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. Like you can become anything you want. And I'm sure when you were growing up, you didn't want to be making your money off of OnlyFans. Like there's more respect to the internet than that. And I think that a lot of issues come from this influencer style thing that's not providing any value, apart from people going, why do I not have a 6-pack like that? Or why do I not have a cash vault full of gold? And it's that unrealisticness that people want to flaunt on social media that is driving the society problem.
Yeah, it's not real, man. And I've spoke about this before, that people are so easily, I don't know, they believe things that aren't real. And especially you've got to feel sorry for girls, especially. I think it's a huge issue for girls, but also guys as well. Like you see these guys that are shredded and this, that, and the other, and it's not a sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah, and with guys, I think it's much less of almost like an envy and the body image thing for guys. It's more about like, how's this kid buying a house at his age, or why is this kid driving a BMW M8, or stuff like that, and that leads to almost like an inferiority complex. Like, am I really this shit that I can't be making millions a year? Like. And it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Don't forget, in society, right, there's always been mega rich people. There's always been people that are so unbelievably minted that you can't even fathom it. They could cure poverty or whatever it is. They could cure world famine, but they've never had a tool to be able to expose that, or to be able to flaunt that in the way that they are today. And it's just unfortunate that people want to see a load of cash on a table, and people want to see a load of guns and RPGs and shit like that. That's just what you want to do. But I don't think that's the problem, and it's a mindset thing. It's how you use social media. Like your social media profile, the selection of people that you follow is essentially going to curate your content that you see. So if you don't want to see negative shit from a guy that you're jealous of, unfollow him, because that's not using social media in a positive and efficient way. If you follow a load of people that are like-minded individuals, hardworking producers, perhaps music mentors that speak more about what it is to be an overall musician and an overall package, as opposed to, Control E is slice on Ableton, Command E, sorry. Yeah, I think that, yeah.
No, I do agree with the stuff about that people are watching on social media. It can have a big effect on your day-to-day life. And I think I read again today, I put it to my Instagram story, you are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And during lockdown, we're not really seeing anyone. So I think you are the average of, I would say, people are probably spending more time on Instagram than they actually are seeing any human. So if you then use that to average who you are, it can make you a jealous, envious person.
Definitely, without even knowing that you are a jealous, envious person that's just horrible to be around as well, without even knowing it. Like I said, that your content feed, the people that you follow on Instagram, is you're meant to curate that. You're meant to decide what content you see. So why don't you start looking at stuff that it really interests you? There's hundreds of engineering pages. There's all kinds of professional football pages, or whatever you want to be. Like, do stuff that's only positively affecting that. I'm following all of these, these top producers that are hardworking individuals with the same mindset. Great. So when I open my feed, it's not going to be full of fucking Rolex watches and monetary stuff that I don't give a fuck about or doesn't improve my life in any way. Instead, it's other people's 2 cents on how do I set my lifestyle up for success, or what's a really good green smoothie that I want to drink today that's rich in vitamins. Those are the things that are going to positively affect you, and that's how social media is a fantastic learning tool. You can harness yourself from a complete amateur to an expert from YouTube for free, right? Yeah. That's when it's used in an amazing light. When it's used in a horrible light, is this dwelling sense, and ultimately leading to the suicide rates in our population. I don't care what people say about that. Like, that is one of the factors that contributes to it. Obviously, there's cases of extreme tragedies, like we briefly touched on, but the general population is overall depressed between the ages of 18 to 25 because of the way social media is portraying life values and what it means to be successful at life. What it means to be successful at life is being a depressed wreck, with your arms cut up in hospital, and taking that and going to becoming a businesswoman or someone of success or someone who's got something for themselves. That's a real success in life, because internally, look how far I've come. Look how much self-value I've moved from this place of dwell and this place of suicidal thoughts or whatever that situation is, to this place of I'm proud of myself and I'm an amazing woman / bloke or whatever you want to be because I've done this, this, and this, and look how far I've come.
Yeah. But the internet obviously comes with its massive positives of spreading messages online, which has been big for you. What would you say is was there a defining moment with the videos when you're like, shit, this is catching on, or has it just been a real steady snowball?
Yeah. Okay. So I knew the content was going to do well. Like when I was making this rig, actually, let me rewind a tiny bit. So lockdown had just started and I was doing like the cooking mix and munch thing that I did and the house workouts, which was like a yoga class / fitness session whilst DJing, like on the mic. They were both at my house. And I was like, what if I could make a piece of content where I'm playing Call of Duty Warzone, but walking around with it? So like I made the rig, which was my first rig design, and it was from a tabletop like maybe this big of like the heaviest wood, the densest wood ever, like neck crippling amounts of dense wood, and it had a camera arm on it which I like sellotaped a tripod to, and I put my TV on it, right? And I wanted to basically walk around while playing Warzone in nature. I thought it'd be a viral video, just for fun. Like it's almost stupid that I didn't think about this at first. And then I posted that video and I was like, wait, I'm trying to be a DJ. So why don't I do this while DJing? Like, although Warzone is the trending thing at the time, like it had just come out, why don't I do something that I'm actually interested in, like DJing with walking around, and just film that? So we went to this deer park near where I live in Kent, and it was a baking hot day, right? I've got this rig, which is made from the heaviest bit of wood ever and like 2 tarpaulin sheets, which I've drilled into the end. I've got my XDJ RX2 on it, a camera arm, like tripod, sellotape, complete botch job to it. And we just filmed it. I just walked around. I was in agony, right? Like absolute agony. Like, but I was just like, I need to finish this video. I said, I'm going to do it for an hour. So I'm just going to do it for an hour. We finished it. And Lucinda was like, oh my God, Lucinda's my girlfriend, right? Lucinda's the girl who's sort of, she's with me everywhere. She's main cameraman. She's there when I'm sleeping. She's there when we're out in the freezing cold. She's there all the time. She's my main teammate. And she looked at the live stream after. She was like, oh my God, Zach, you're not going to believe how well this is done. And I was like, fuck, I knew this was going to happen. It was a case of, I knew this was going to happen. Like I knew that no one had ever seen this view before of like, I can choose what the background is. They don't have to see what's in front of me. And I can almost curate the video that's happening just while I mix. Is the best green screen ever.
Yeah.
And that live stream actually lagged halfway through and we had to end it and re-bring it online. But it was the best video I had done since I went to Brexit and I filmed in front of the Houses of Parliament. It was the best video I had done. And it was like 4 p.m. on a Wednesday, like not optimal time at all. And Lucinda was like, oh my God, you're going to have to look at this. This is done really, really well. Like going through the comments, like this is the best thing I've ever seen. Best DJ live stream. Like, and it was my first fucking one. So like, I was hungry at that point, mate. I was really, really hungry. And then we went for every week for 14 weeks after that, taking it from Stepping with Suart 1 to Suart in the Wild 2. And it was an amazing journey. But so the highlight one was probably have to be the kayak. And this is because like the planning that went into it. There's a behind the scenes video on my page called How to DJ in a Kayak. And just the level of planning that went into it, like we scouted out the route. We met with the guy who knew the canal, and it was our first time on the canal. And we bought a kayak and it was too small, so we had to buy another kayak, and we set up like in the living room, put the decks on it. Like it was a crazy video. And you know, we were trying for so long to get to this kayak. We were in Canterbury. We started at the Aldi in Canterbury. My rig broke. At this point, I'd been doing it for 12 weeks straight, right? So my rig broke, the attachment part where the lifting belt attaches to the decks and supports it. So it snapped. We're in the middle of Canterbury and I'm going on one side only. I'm like, oh fuck, like we're still like an hour away from this place. Bear in mind, we walk to the locations, right? We say, right, we're going to start here and we go here, and we do like a rough route along it. We walk it the day before to check for signal and all kinds of things. So I was like, we're still an hour away. And then we're in the middle of town and the other one snaps. they both snap, right? So I now have to hold it like that. That's how you have to hold it while mixing, whilst talking on the microphone, whilst walking through town. And this lady, thankfully, this lady drives past in the bus, and we're like, please help us, please help us. And the bus was empty, and it was almost like a godsend. Like she let us on the bus, and she dropped us off basically near it, 15 minutes near the rendezvous point to get onto the kayaks. So we're stopped, and we put the table up, and we're set up and whatever. And this guy comes past, and he's like, oh, I own that kebab shop. We also do taxis for a shout out. So we're on the live stream. We're like, shout out Kabazi out. What was it? Kabazi Kebabs in Canterbury. Shout out Kabazi Kebabs in Canterbury. This taxi pulls up. Again, I've been live this whole time. So far the audience have seen me go through Aldi, through the busy streets of Canterbury on like a Wednesday in a bus. And now I'm about to get in a taxi. We stuff the rig in the taxi. Like I've got to like pull my head down. Like it's crazy. I'm in agony, right? Like all of the weight of the rig, the battery in my bag, the speaker, the decks is like basically sitting on my knee in the bottom of this taxi just so we can keep filming. And we get out to this rendezvous point. The kayaks are there set up like in a 3. Like I felt like a Power Ranger. I was about to like jump into my ride and get on with it. And mate, and then literally I did. The thing is with my live streams, right? I'm so focused at that moment in time on just getting the content captured and like tunnel vision, right? Mix, try not to press stop on the track, like balance. So I'm doing this kayaking thing, and like I can't. There is an element of I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. But like when I got offline, because we stopped halfway through, and Ross is my manager who comes with me, Ross Canavan from the Locust Group, and he came with me on that one because Lucinda, my number 2, couldn't make it, and so we stopped halfway through, and I'm like, how many viewers has it got, mate? And okay, he turns around and he just stops. He just goes, oh my God, I can't believe it. Now I'm not saying that viewers make me happy, but as a metric for how far I was 2 years, how far I was I getting 50 viewers 2 years ago, or 150 viewers.
Hey,
on
you'd
the
be
last...
crazy. I'd call you crazy if viewers didn't make you happy. I'd call you crazy. It's not a question. It makes you happy.
But yeah, exactly. But it makes you happy because it shows how far you've come. Exactly. It's not the actual. I'm not talking about the dopamine release from high viewers, because when you get a lot of viewers for something that you've worked hard for, that's the take home from it. That's what I've worked for, because look how many viewers it was getting. So he goes, oh my God. Ross is fully American. He's like 6.3 thousand viewers. And I was just like, oh my fucking God, we've done it. I knew this was going to happen, because we just got a fucking taxi and a bus and a kayak down a river with my DJ decks on. And so now, like, I spoke about this earlier, I've got this element of, I need to take this equipment to its limit. I need to outdo myself each week, because people have seen that now. So like, it needs to get more entertaining. So like the series that followed that was Sneaking with Suart, where in the last episode, we snuck into Madame Two Swords and had like a 40-minute DJ set with a tiny mobile rig. So that's where it's going now. Like, how crazy can it get? Like, what places can you DJ in that no one's ever even heard music in before? And obviously live stream it.
Yeah, I think it's impressive how you've kept diversifying like what you're doing, but while keeping it still. I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people, like, they get an idea, but it's trying to get it to grow.
It's expanding on that idea.
Yeah, and you just went with something. You thought, let's try it, and it's just, as you've gone along, just kept growing it. So yeah, I remember seeing the video of that, and I was like, that is sick. I hope I could DJ on a kayak one day. What was the So what is your record amount of viewers on one video so far?
That one. Well, yeah, but by myself, it's that one. Yeah.
But it must have. I'm guessing it's accumulated even more viewers now. Since.
Well, okay. So there's kind of 2 different metrics that I look at. A live stream is the amount of concurrent viewers. So the top amount of people that are watching it at any one time. Then there's a different metric, which is total viewership, which is, over the whole video's lifespan. So maybe 2 weeks maximum, or sometimes 4 weeks if it really does well. So the most concurrent viewers was on that stream, which was 6.3 thousand people. But the most actual views that I've ever had on a post was an edit that I did from Brighton. So on Thursday nights last season, we did what's called I Step with Suart, Instagram Step with Suart. And so it's in the portrait view, the mobile first view. And I'm gonna just do my thing just on the streets. And those are the ones that you saw like in the streets of Manchester and the streets of Liverpool for the UK tour, which was just a crazy response, which I'm sure we'll get onto. this video from Brighton, for some reason, it just did really, really, really well. And like, we posted it on a Saturday morning. It's a 3-minute video, right? So it's not too lengthy. It's really punchy, quick, choppy edit. And like, I'm pretty sure within 2 days it had 1 million views.
Wow.
And I was like, holy fuck. I did not expect it to do this well. Like, and because it's over 3 minutes, you can monetize it on Facebook. So like, I got like 300 quid from this video, like in 2 days. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is about to really start happening now. Again, this was like the second I Step with Suat that I'd ever done, the second edit that I'd ever done. So a lot of people at this point might not have even got to the second edit, because I'm editing all the time. This was the second edit of something that I didn't even know that was going to do well. So it's just, again, about meeting that point. Thankfully for me, I got it in the second episode, but all of the rest of my episodes didn't do as well. So yeah, and then that video ended on like 4.5 million views with just like 22,000 shares, which is ultimately that shares drive the engagement. So the views, likes, and comments get driven by the amount of shares that you have.
Yeah.
So and okay, so the way I think about this stuff is like, right, so how can I incentivize people to share? Because if that's going to be the thing that drives the online engagement, then how can I really incentivize people to share? Like, what is going to make them actually go out of their time to share some of my content on their own page? Maybe it's a shout out. Maybe it's we're coming to your town next week, or whatever it is. But if you can incentivize people to share your content by setting up that value exchange that we spoke about, people feel like they've had fun, or people feel like they've heard new music, or people feel like they've gained some wisdom. If there's that value exchange going on, then people will repay you in value with sharing, which is exemplified. Yeah, go on.
I think it's a good one, because I did a share this story and I'll give you a free sample pack last week. And I thought, oh, I'll get a few shares, and I got like 150. And it's like, I'm giving them something, you're giving me something. Like, we're both winning in this situation. And I've come to realize that there's nothing worse, that I've been guilty of this for years, and I don't really want to do it anymore, is sending a message to someone where you share this, but with no value in return.
Exactly.
Because it's boring. But I know,
and it's short-sighted. It's short-sighted because ultimately what those people are going to do is end up resenting you for asking you to share them so many times and not providing any value, and you actually would lose engagement from that.
Yeah.
But carry on.
I think my actual friends, like, I know they'd probably just need telling to share it because they might not see it on the stream. That's different. But I mean, messaging someone random that's like you don't speak to, I'm really like, I feel a bit uneasy even doing it. And think about it now. I think unless they're getting something out of it, I know it's only a share, it's free, but like, that's not the point. What they need, it needs to be shareable. The content needs to be shareable. If it's a video, last week I did the video in my studio, I didn't ask anyone to share that, and it's been the best post I've done, because people were intrigued to see the music that's coming. I gave them an insight into what I've been working on, which is what people want to see. But if it was just a picture of me sat drinking a pint, no one's going to share that. And if I could message them, everyone, share this picture of me, but like, they're not getting anything out of it, so why the fuck would they?
Exactly. And you know, if you're the type of person that thinks that every time I do a post, I'm going to ask all these different same people to share it, then you're not the type of person that so that the person that's going to rely on the same people sharing it is missing the point of it all. That's my 2 cents on it. So like, my inbox on Facebook, like, I have it muted, I have it off, like, because there's just spammers all over Facebook asking me to share random shit that I just don't care about or anything like that. And it's like, why would someone share that?
Yeah, well, I remember when we first spoke, I didn't ask you, but we said like SYNTHO, because we spoke about potentially trying to figure something out. But like, we both even said that it'd be weird for you to share SYNTHO for no reason. Like, why? It doesn't cost you anything, but it's random. Like, why would you do it? And we said we're going to do something. Obviously, we're doing a podcast now, and it exposes your audience to mine to yours, vice versa.
Yeah, and then you go gradually, and that's what any relationship is like. Whether it's a business relationship or anything, it's a gradual change, it's a gradual growth. But like, just getting random people to ask you to share their post, that's like almost so. It's almost like, do people have the audacity to ask, kind of thing? Not with your case, obviously. It's something that I'm very much proactive for, and I believe in the project and stuff like that. But it's when you get like inboxes from people that you've never ever heard of in your life saying, "Hey, would you mind sharing this?" And that again brings me back to my point. Like, people have pride in what they share. Kind of, it's their feed, and all of their followers see what they share. Well, not all of them, but that's different.
That's another story.
Altogether, 10% of your followers see that. So people have pride in it. So if people can be discovering something new and valuable, then they're going to share it, because it's not that case of who's this fucker? I'm not sharing it just because he asked me to. But if you, so that, again, you set up that value exchange, like, and then people will want to share you. It's only a matter of time. If you're ticking all the boxes for success, people will want to share you, and your videos will do well online. But so yeah, go, like, our relationship now, like, it's growing, and then it gets to a point where, you know, we can collab on videos and stuff like that. Like, there's that other level of stuff. Diversifying as well, you mentioned, like A/B testing, like posting a piece of content on Instagram, posting the same piece of content on Facebook a day later, or whatever it is, working out what works. Like, if you're not testing and scheming and trying new stuff, you will stagnate. Just because someone else will do it better in a quicker amount of time.
If you're not moving forwards, you're probably moving backwards. That's like the saying, isn't it? Which is kind of true.
That's the ultimate thing. That's the ultimate thing. Obviously, there's a bit of resistance where you give at the start and you're not getting anything. To get stuff starting, to get the name being heard and the conversations to be had about you, there's obviously that. But once you're on that upwards trajectory, there's no reason why it should slow down, provided everything that we've spoken about in this interview so far. Like, yeah, that's how I feel.
It takes dedication, though, you know. I am 1 month booze free. I'm not a big boozer anyway, really, but like,
nice one. Good work.
I'm stuck to that. Like, I'm a DJ, maybe stereotypically like to party, and it's been a big part of my life since the beginning. I owe a lot to partying because I've met so many people while partying, but I've not had a drink in a month.
Good work, mate. That's
maybe
great.
That's not the answer, but I've done more this month than I've ever done in a month in my life. I've done
definitely
4 podcasts, newsletter every Friday. I've made 5 tracks, read 2 books. Not to brag like this is my output.
No. But you need.
What I mean is like
good.
just doing shit, and that the trajectory is going up. But the hard thing is now I'm gonna have to do that again next month to keep going up. Because if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. And I've kind of now. That is the reality. Think about it. If I don't read 2 books next month, record a podcast every week, write newsletter every week, make 5 tunes, I'm going backwards again. That's the dangerous of this. That's the danger of this lifestyle and mindset, that if you start to step up the ante, as they say, soon as you slow down, you will go backwards.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. It's hard to kind of. And here's one thing I wanted to ask you about, actually, because I have been speaking to my mum quite a lot, because I share everything with the whole business, podcast, everything with her. I want to start analysing my metrics, and it's quite convenient that we've had this conversation now. Because what level, I've started doing insights every Monday on Instagram, but I've not started logging them. And I'm also going to start considering YouTube, SYNTHO memberships. But at what level do you think is healthy? Because I think there is an unhealthy obsession for me, checking Instagram for the dopamine hit. I know I'm addicted to it. I'm also checking my email way too often.
Everyone's addicted to the instantaneous dopamine hit.
At what level do you think is healthy to check your metrics? At what frequency, and how are you tracking them?
Okay, really good question actually there, mate. So when I said before, like, using it as a metric to go up, like,
let's actually take it back. If people that don't know what a metric is, like, we're on about here measuring a numerical figure, I'm guessing. Well, it doesn't have to be numerical, does it? Or does it?
It doesn't have to be numerical, but it's just a way of measuring something growing. So a metric for watching your bank account grow is income or money coming in. Similarly, in some of my cases, if I'm trying to make my Instagram grow, a metric for that is followers or likes per post or comments per post. So it's a really good start. And I say this to a lot of my Patreons, is establish what your goal is. I'm very results driven. I'm very follower driven. I aim to reach a certain amount of followers as opposed to likes, because the reason with that is posts can fluctuate for all kinds of reasons. And so watching post by post, one post might get...
That's noise. That's not signal, right? That's
Exactly. So whereas a long-term follower goal that you set at the start of the year, in my case, it is a really good way, because you can work towards it. You don't necessarily know what the slope's going to look like on the way there. Sometimes it can be exponential when you're like, fucking hell, I've gone up loads in an overnight, or sometimes it can be a slow burner and then level off or whatever. So with regard to insights, I think you should just loosely check each time you post something. Don't be just like refreshing your feed to see if your follower count goes up a follower, but you should just loosely monitor how each post does. In my case, I post on each platform 3 times a week, like during the season, and then there's additional live content to go with that. So what I do is like, I'll edit it and then I'll post it and then I'll just switch my phone off.
The best way, I think. I'm bad for the upload and then keep checking it, because I don't care who you are, everyone does the same thing. Everyone, you keep checking, and then it's just like, what even check? It doesn't change anything. The outcome of the post doesn't matter if you check it today or next week.
Yeah, if anything, if anything, there's technologies in Facebook and Instagram that allow them to work out if you're trying to increase your engagement posting. So if you, for example, then post hashtags under your Instagram post immediately after, they'll kind of see that as tampering, and it will narrow your engagement. At least that used to be the case. I mean, like I said, right, Facebook and Instagram don't want you to know how their algorithms work. So they're constantly changing it. So because they don't want people to be able to have a golden recipe for success at it. That's why it's always changing. That's why you see pages that haven't posted in ages, like some of these DJs that have been in the circuit for ages that maybe have 100,000 followers, but their photos get 20 likes. That's because the algorithm isn't reaching anyone, because it's constantly evolving. It's evolving monthly, right? So no one has a real recipe for success, and that's why you have to look at the analytics. So that's the importance of it. But
are you logging them on a spreadsheet, or is it just are you just taking it off in your brain?
I'll screenshot ones that I'm really proud of. They go on like my media pack and stuff like that, like most viewed video and top demographics. Information that I can harness. I don't necessarily look at it to like frame. I look at it to go, right, people that like my video also like Lad Bible and photography workshops. So now when I'm hashtagging, for example, when I'm adding tags to the video, or when I'm thinking about my captions, I might include something that's more oriented like a Lad Bible thing, or I might include something that includes a photography phrase, because I know that they're my core demographics. So, I mean, they're easy to become obsessed with, but ultimately, until you have a big enough set of data, until you have a big enough following, you're not going to really notice any trends in your following. Because again, it's this noise situation. Until you have a big enough data plot to plot on your graph, how are you going to monitor the gradient on your graph? So like, I would say like, bear in mind this as well. There's 7 billion people going on 8 billion people on the planet. And you might at this point watching this video have 1,000 followers. That doesn't mean that 1,000 out of 7 billion people like your content. That means that you've showed your content to 1,000 people that like it. So again, with that perspective change, what if I know that there's billions of people that still haven't seen the SUAT project? There's infinite room for growth with it. So you just have to really consistently do something. That's the ultimate thing. You can check the insights, you can hashtag it with certain things, you can do a caption, but if you set yourself up for success, and I'll say this once more so I don't keep repeating myself, by having a unique selling point, by being consistently posting and diversifying across not just one social media platform, across Facebook, across Instagram, across TikTok, across all of these platforms. Obviously that last part is dependent on what you're selling. In your case, it's a bespoke course, so it's much different.
Yeah.
But overall, your social medias, you're present on multiple social medias, which is a massive thing. Again, I always say this to my Patreons, like SUATism on everything. I refer to this as having a closed circuit, right? So say this is my YouTube, say this is my Facebook, this is my Instagram, and this is my TikTok. If I've got the same handle on all of these, then it's a closed circuit. So if someone comes into my Facebook and they say SUATism, and then that same person likes TikTok and they go, oh, I'm going to search for SUATism. If my username on TikTok was different, I'd lose the lead straight away, because they'd go, oh, he's not on there. I'm not going to bother, because people are inherently lazy. If they can search SUATism on TikTok and it comes up straight away, follow. I've gained a follower. I've kept the lead in the circuit, right? Now, if that same lead goes to to YouTube, and it says SUATism there, oh, great, I've gained that same lead across all these social media platforms. If you have SUAT DJ 1 and SUATism on another, and I am Mr. SUAT on the third, you're never going to keep all those leads when they come into the circuit. And I always encourage people to do this. Like the guys that I talk through, improving their social media, shout out Scott Lemon if he's watching, and all of these guys that I'm trying to help improve their brands. you want to be able to get to your Facebook page from your YouTube page. And from your Facebook page, you want to be able to get to your Twitter. And from your Twitter, you want to be able to get to your TikTok. And it should be that closed network, because this is you, your brand, right? This is, again, with your friendship group. You drop a piece of gossip in your friendship group, and it gets to Alex, and it gets to Sam, and it gets to Dave quickly. So that's what you want it to be able to do. You should think of your followers or people that see your content as leads, as if you were selling. So you don't want to lose that lead. And how can we minimize the risk of losing a lead? Have a closed social media network. Have the same Josh Baker music on everything, just because it's the uniformity. It keeps people in the loop. Same thing. You want to be able to link between your social media platforms like they're stepping stones, not get someone to watch a YouTube video. They like it, but they can't find out where to watch more.
Yeah, you know what's funny actually? I really want the handle just Josh Baker. Like, I want it so bad, and the guy that's got the account, he's not posted for like years.
Inactive, yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out.
You can get people to hack those, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking I need that, because I want that to the handle. I just want it to be Josh Baker.
Definitely.
But yeah, Josh Baker, if you're listening, mate, I'm coming for you. But just to take it back a sec for the analytics, I listened to something this week. It was really interesting. And there's people that are amazing at video games, right? But they're crap at life. And essentially, we're just living a video game. Like, this is just a video game, and we're just walking around, buying food, selling this, selling that.
Yeah.
And what is it that makes them good at video games and not good at real life? And one thing video games often have is a reward by going to the next level. And I think having that reward can keep you motivated. And what I've realized is the analytics now, I'm getting quite into it with my podcast, SYNTHO, followers. I can assess each week if I've got to the next level, but without kind of measuring if you've gone up a level, it can, and there's just a never-ending road to, I don't know where I'm going. It's obviously hard to set an end goal. There is no end. It is an infinite game, what we're doing. However, if you know level 10 for me, well, at the moment, say I'm on 7,000 followers. I want to get to 10,000. So I've really step it up. I want to get to 10,000. So if you're not following me and you're watching this, please go and follow me. Same with YouTube. Please subscribe. But I'm looking at it as levels now. So I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So that's level 2. Then 2,000, level 3. And I think when you can measure things, it's more motivating. But otherwise, you kind of sat there like, where am I actually heading with this? And obviously, like you say, the numbers isn't what makes you happy. It's the process that goes into it and the content that ends up coming out. But the numbers allow you to know you're progressing. Because if the followers aren't going up and the views aren't going up, I'd probably say the content can't be getting better. And if it is, maybe tough, but I don't think that happens. I think if the content's getting better, the numbers are going to follow.
Yeah, definitely. And always, for anyone watching this, just bear in mind that when you're starting out, not even 1% of the population has ever seen your content before. No one knows who you are. So don't expect to all of a sudden have a massive following, because these things take time. You've got to program the value exchange. You've got to work off of people sharing your content, and then people to have heard of you. And then when people see you online by themselves, then they'll drop you a follow. And that's when the followers start coming in properly, when there's already this memory of you somewhere from something, or someone's shared a video that you've seen, and then you see that exact same person by yourself, and then you snatch the follow. That's how kind of you recruit followers. So
how many followers you on now on Instagram?
I think it just hit 60 the other day.
You went from like 25 to like 50 within like 2 weeks, or am I just imagining things?
Yeah, no, I did. Everything jumped that week. It was a real crazy week for me.
And what happened that week? Was that when you did an advert or something?
No, that was actually, it was the week after Brighton. So the video was maybe on like 3 million views or something. And then I hit it with another one. Again, here's this thing, like, it's very easy. And sorry if I'm quite scatty, but it's just the way I think. And I think it's best to just say it as I'm thinking it. But so a lot of people, right, when they get a video that does really, really well, that is a cue to take a break, or to have some rest, or take your foot off the gas. That is exactly what you shouldn't do, right? So this is something that I talk through with my Patreons. When I set up a plan with what I'm going to do and how long I'm going to do it for. So I have a weekly schedule. This is actually the first draft of last year, right? Where is it?
For everyone listening, Suart's now got a piece of paper up with his weekly schedule on. Go on.
So I program my whole week, Monday to Sunday, 7 till 12 at night. So by having a schedule that says, okay, I'm going to film this piece of content, then I'm going to post it, then I'm going to go on an interview with Josh, then I'm going to do this, then, or whatever it is, then commit to how long you're going to do it for. So this is my weekly schedule for the next 10 weeks, 5 weeks, 12 weeks. Based off of that time period, set some realistic goals. So with me, it was follower goals on each platform. I want to get to this on Facebook. I want to get to this on Instagram. And then chip away at it. If you get there before, don't stop because you've got there. Keep going with the plan, right? Because then you know that this plan is a follower doubler or a follower tripler, right? But if you don't continue at it, even if you get a video that does really well or you get the most listens you've ever had, that's not a cue to stop. Don't get disheartened and think that, oh, I'm not going to reach that again, because you definitely will. Bear in mind, even for me, not many people have seen me as a consensus of the whole population. So what was your actual question?
I can't even remember what my question was. I don't think I actually asked you a question. I think you just went away with one. We were talking.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this plan, right? This is this fits within my lifestyle, and that's something that I make essential. Like, if your plan doesn't fit within your lifestyle, two things are going to happen. You're going to lose out on your lifestyle. You're going to give up on commitments because you're too focused on your plan, or the other way around. You're not going to meet your plan because you're too focused on your lifestyle and all your other priorities. So by planning your battle plan around your lifestyle, you're setting yourself up for success. And this is something I always preach. Like, I look after my sister. I'm a carer for her. She has cerebral palsy. So I have to plan that into my schedule. But when it's planned, I can also see on the yellow where my free time is, because I've planned it. Because I've planned when I'm working, so I know when I'm not working.
I think the thing to say here is that I'm going to talk about this in a newsletter in the coming weeks, is discipline gives you the ultimate freedom. Like, by me going on a walk every morning, that doesn't take any effort because it's a habit. It's easy, but then it gives me the freedom to know I've done exercise that day. And then I'll know I'm recording this podcast. I know it was like planned, but it gives me freedom to know it's being done. I don't have to worry about it. My mind's free to do other things. I think by being scheduled, routined, planning, it means you can just kind of do what you want in a weird way, because you don't have to think about doing it because it's already wrote down.
Yeah, exactly. And it's simple stuff like that can just set you up for, like, what I saw like a couple of months ago, like maybe a year ago actually, was just like on Instagram on these generic like motivation pages. And it was literally just this. It was like, dedicate the next 6 months to change the rest of your life. And that's what I thought. Like,
it's so true, honestly, if I look back at the last 6 months,
it seriously is. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, this was at the start of last year, the pandemic hadn't come in yet, and I was looking at this thing like, dedicate the next 6 months. But all that means is just fucking work hard at something consistently for the next 6 months. You can have a social life. You can plan it in. Like, I have so much free time. People probably don't think that I do, but like, this says I do. Like, what you do in your free time is up to you. If you want to continue working, fine. But
that's what I said at the start. You don't have to do crazy amount of hours, but the crazy thing is just doing things consistently.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really fit, but that is the truth of it.
I think people need guidance, and people will get a lot of value from having guidance on just setting up, getting stuff set up. And I think that it's not taught ever. It's not a curriculum. It's not anything. And it's something that, like, you find out either the hard way or by having like a mentor or a coach or something like that. Like, and then you can just become whatever you want to do in life.
Yeah, I agree, mate. So how has it changed your life for the good and the bad? Has there been any negatives that have come with the SUAT project?
No, no negatives. No, I mean, not that I can think of off the cuff. Like, I'm a really content individual right now. Like, you wouldn't recognize me 3 years ago, kind of thing. Compared to where I was, there's been some great benefits. I guess. No, here's the thing. Like, I don't consider stress as a bad thing necessarily. I don't. People go, oh, you must be stressed. Well, yeah, I am stressed. That you should be stressed. You care about what you're doing enough. You're thinking about all different ways to plot and scheme it. You should be stressed to a degree. That's a natural part of being an awake human, is the stress. Similarly, like my sister, for example, her biggest worry is, what is she going to eat for breakfast tonight? So she's not stressed at all. But to some individuals, that might be very, very stressful. Do you see what I'm saying? So the stress is natural, but if you can control that via via various mediums, meditation, exercise. Some people get high, you know, whatever it is. If you can control that stress and keep chipping away at the plan, results come.
Yeah, an interesting one for you. So there's an experiment. Let me try and get this right. There was a rat starved for days. They put the smell of cheese at the one end of the tunnel. The rat smelled the cheese and went towards it. But they did another experiment, rat in the same position, cheese in the same position, and they put a cat behind the rat. And they found the force exceeded massively, and that was the stress. And often to get somewhere, you need the force that on your back, the thing you're worrying about, to actually speed you up. The rat was starving, but then soon as it started getting stressed about something else behind it and a bit of fear, that's when it then soon darted, and the force was much higher.
Definitely. And that actually in itself, that experiment is a metaphor for like, if you can undergo serious, like, mental stresses, mental predicaments. Oh, I'm broke. I don't have a car to drive. I want this, but I don't have it. I hate my living situation. If you can undergo that and come at a place where you're at peace with it, then you can go so much further. Like, here's another analogy. Like, if I can walk up a hill with 40 kilos in a backpack, then the same time I walk up that hill without the 40 kilos in the backpack, I'm going to do it so much faster. I'm going to do it so much quicker and without less sweat, because I've got used to working with that load. Now, the same thing with stress. Stress is a mental load. If you can get used to working under high stress environments, chefs is a great example. It's high stress environment. There's loads of shit going on. And to like an individual that's not in that environment, they go, how can you even work like this? I can't believe this. But the stressors aren't fucking phased by it, are they? They're just chopping it away, just like this goes there, this goes there.
Yeah.
So if you can bear that mental stress, then when you don't have that mental stress, you're going to feel, you're just going to be invincible. You're going to be Superman. You're going to feel like you can battle anything in life. So I think it's wrong for me to encourage, like, live a stress-free life, man. You like, don't worry about anything. That's not the fucking case. You should worry about stuff, because what I'm worried about is dying at 60 with nothing to show for it. Like I said, like do you know what I mean? But being someone who I didn't want to be when I'm older, or having regrets about stuff. And that is driven by stress and worry and wanting to provide for your family and wanting to do all of these amazing things. And that will sit at the back of your head. But if you can compartmentalize it and say, right, when I'm working, this is the mode, this is the professionalism, and deal with that stress in a way that you're at peace with it, you become a jet engine and a machine, and you can just chip until there's nothing left.
Yeah, I think that's good. But I think it's funny, Nick, 'cause it's not just about, I think sometimes, for me anyway, like when I had to buy a ridiculously expensive computer before I launched SYNTHO, and I couldn't afford it, but it was that kind of gave me that extra push. I really wanted to succeed, but having the thing behind me that was the rock up the ass was an extra push. But like, it's almost like you have to almost sabotage yourself, but not in a self-sabotaging way, but just give yourself a bit more, put a bit more money on the line. Money's not the word, but just a bit more, I don't know. You know what I mean? Anyway,
risk something.
Risk something. That's it.
I just think people should take a risk. Like, okay, here's the thing. If your dreams don't scare you in a way that's like, fuck, that makes me nervous when I think about it, whatever it is. Like, obviously we spoke about metrics. You have a metric. I want to get to 1 million followers, for example. That's a metric. But then your dreams are very different, and they're like actual visions of what success would really mean for you. Playing to a tent of 10,000 people, or stepping along the Great Wall of China. So like, those are two very different things. One's very much like professional business orientated, the insights and the metrics. And then the other thing is like the self-fulfillment thing for you. Like, this is when I've made it. And I think if your dreams don't make you fucking nervous and scared, then either you're dreaming of something that isn't that extraordinary, or your dreams aren't big enough. Like, ultimately, these are the things that are going to make you content in life. Obviously, I'm saying this as a 24-year-old, and they'll probably be different by the time I'm 30. But like, they should make you scared, and you should be like a visionary in that sense. You should be thinking, what can I do that no one else has done that would make me feel really content? And what's the biggest crowd that exists on the planet? Google's it, okay, 50,000 capacity at EDC. I want to play to that crowd. That's the dream.
I guess one thing to bear in mind though is not everyone wants to live that life. Some people just want to.
No, of course, but whatever your definition of success is, then that should scare you. Like, I think to a degree anyway. Like, okay, if you want loads and loads of money, you're going to be scared of having billions and billions of pounds lying around. That's probably a bad example, but like, I see what you're saying, that not everyone wants that life. I 100% get that.
I think
But
for me,
at
you
least in
know,
my case,
I think what's interesting, the more I progress with what I'm doing at the moment, the more I realize the things that make me happy, and it's
yes,
just making music, exercising, running,
yeah,
like reading, watching for sports, playing sports. I've realized that even if I had £1,000,000 a month, I wouldn't be doing anything, nothing. I
nothing
promise the
different.
world, my life would be the exact same. If
Yeah,
I was getting paid £1,000,000 a day, it wouldn't change.
yeah,
There is nothing that would change that. And I think, I know what you're trying to say, but I guess on another flip side is for people that if money's the thing you're chasing, which it should not be for anyone,
should
it
not.
doesn't actually change much, like
No,
in the long run. I think if you actually find out what you want to do, that's the most important thing. And I think, I can't remember the quotes, by the two most important things in your life are the day you're born and the day you realize your purpose, which
right.
is kind of like shit. Because I think now, I don't want to say it because it's always changing, but I really feel so fulfilled with the teaching and doing podcasts and doing more than just making tunes.
Yeah,
I've now feel so content with everything. I think
definitely.
before, when I was just making music, I loved it and I loved DJing, but I felt like
One dimensional.
I wanted to do more
Yeah,
because I was into more. I wasn't just a DJ, a producer. I
yeah,
felt like there was more,
that's
but
the
I
same
couldn't put
here.
my finger on it.
Yeah,
And now I've realized it and I feel really fulfilled. Obviously, not everyone can go out tomorrow and listen to this and then all make a podcast, all start writing newsletters, because it's not really thinking outside the box of what you can do. But I really feel that one, now what I'm doing. And then, like
yeah,
I say, I think everything else is just a bonus to an extent. But yeah, I do dream of like what this can all grow to, and that makes me nervous. That makes me nervous. That's what you're trying to
yeah,
say. Like what I
definitely.
want this to
Because
grow to does
because
make me
you might,
nervous.
yeah, because you might be nervous of the workload at that point. You know, it's going to be a lot of stuff to be doing if you're doing podcasts every day, or you might get someone on really big, like if you had to interview, you know, Jamie Jones or one of these guys, that would make you nervous. So yeah, take what I said with a pinch of salt in respect, with respect to that phrase. But you mentioned about, you know, you'd be still living the same way, even if you're mega loaded, and the things you really value in life are exercise,
Making tunes, yeah.
making tunes, you know what I mean, that stuff. I really like this phrase, and it's the less that you own, the less that owns you. So if you're the type of person that materializes and gets satisfaction from that, from those material products, you're never going to be content with yourself. If you remove that sort of stuff from your life, if you live very, you know, not necessarily frugally, but if you live where you don't feel the need to buy the most lavish things, and you can save up, and you can, and you don't have 6 different kinds of cars, then what you take pride in is the simple things in life: exercising, going on a walk with your mates, just enjoying time in people's company, and really like actually engaging in conversations as opposed to being talked to. Going the extra mile in your conversations and your business relationships, and saying, also tell me about when your son does scootering or whatever. um do you see what I'm saying from that? Like
Yeah, yeah.
the less that you hold as part of you, you know, this is my laptop, these are my really cool headphones, this is my wicked chair, or whatever, like that's an example, obviously. Then the less that owns you in your everyday life, you don't feel the need. Am I echoing?
No, I'm just thinking, you know what I said at the start? I think the builders have actually turned up today to finish off the house. Like they're putting doors on, but if you keep banging, I'll go upstairs and
I
just
can't
tell them
hear
to
it,
shut
mate.
up.
I
But
can't hear
can
it,
you hear
honestly.
anything? Is it all right?
No, not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. Yeah. So just the less that you own, the less that owns you. Just if you can be very mindful with your life, and when I say mindful, like I'm using this word a lot because I didn't know what it meant, and I watched it on a meditation channel thing, and they told, and it basically explains it. And it's like, if you can really, really appreciate every aspect of your life to the point where when I'm stirring in my instant coffee, I love this. This is so great. Look at the rich colors in this coffee. If you can be mindful, mum, I love you. You know, you're the best mum. If you can approach your day with that stance of being a super appreciative for anything and enjoying going on for a run and enjoying reflecting in time by yourself, then you don't need a Gucci wristwatch or
Yeah,
a
I think
or a Lamborghini.
the saying I included on my newsletter a few weeks ago was from my friend Joe, reminded me of it, and it's, if you can't be happy drinking your coffee, you won't be happy on a yacht. I think that's the
Yeah.
point. I think
It's
it's
so
worded,
true.
it's worded better than that. But yeah, if you can't, I was speaking to my dentist about this last week. Making coffee in the morning, it's like a holy moment. Like that is so good. You drink the coffee and like they're
Yeah.
ready to go for the day. And like,
Yeah.
honestly, if you don't drink coffee, it's a superpower. But that coffee,
Then you're slower than us.
yeah. But that black coffee in the morning is superpower.
Essential.
And if you can't enjoy that, I think you're gonna struggle. But mate, we've covered loads there. I'm just thinking, is there anything else we've missed? I think on the notes I made, we have covered everything. Life before SUAT, but we spoke about that. You were doing your degree.
Yeah.
And I think like you're all about the life as SUAT, aren't you now? So
Yeah, definitely.
what do you call yourself, Zach or SUAT?
What? Like my family call me
What do you
Zach.
speak now? What do you say to yourself? Say, like, what is the internal dialogue?
Come on, Zach.
Come on, Zach.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah, so again, Suat's very much the character. Like I am that person, but not on such a flamboyant scale when I'm with my mates. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just because people like it and people like just kind of laugh and let their head. And when people see me as this relaxed individual that doesn't care about a fool that he makes of himself from dancing in a cat shirt in the freezing cold, then people feel at ease when watching it, kind of thing. And so yeah.
And can you ever not be asked? That's a good question. Do you ever just think I can't be asked doing this today, or is it a buzz? It can't be
sure.
It's not like having a mix of your mates, is it? You're carrying something around with you and you're running around a city in the freezing cold.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's always an element of that. Like, there's always an element from when you've been doing something for ages and ages. There will be days where you don't feel that up to it, and there will be days where you feel more up to it, and that's just part of the whole journey and the process. But yeah, I'm like a human, and sometimes I don't want to do it in the rain. But again, like I've got this fan base now where I have a pressure to perform to them, and like I have to be there when I'm on season. If I miss a day, people are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like get yourself in shape and come back, kind of thing.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like playing football on a Sunday morning when it's like them freezing cold days, but you just like got to do it.
Yeah, you just got to do it. You just got to stick it out, and like. I think one of the biggest take homes that people should have from this session is that don't be the person that has the great idea and tries, but doesn't try for long enough to notice the response, or to notice the gradient on the graph increase, or to notice the results, or to notice the metrics going up. Don't be that person. Don't be the person that you don't want to fucking sit next to at the party and goes, yeah, well, I used to have this business, but like it all went, like, do you know what I mean? You don't want to be that nose at the party. You want to be the guy that tried relentlessly with whatever it is that you're doing, and by whatever measures make you successful, are now a successful person.
Yeah, I think what's a good one, while I think of it, is I remember listening to a podcast and I thought, why I'd love to do a podcast one day. And now when I think back, why the fuck did I even think that? Because like my thinking should have been, oh, I should start a podcast. But it was like I'd set a bar up like, I wish I could do that.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Like, why couldn't I do that? And I think one thing that's good is that I reckon I've got mates from school, not even mates from school, people that are probably been mates around me when I first started doing all this. They're like, what the fuck is he doing? Because I'm not really like, I'm a serious person. Like you probably can tell that you're much more like fun than me in terms of like, you know what I mean? Like flamboyant is probably the word.
Flamboyant.
Yeah. I'm not that guy really. And probably people wouldn't have thought I would have spoke on camera before because I'd never done it before. And I reckon the first time I did it, people probably thought like, fucking hell, what is he doing?
You always have haters. You always have haters. No matter who you are.
I remember the very first one I did, I watch it back now and it makes me laugh because I'm so jittery. And like when now I do podcasts with other people or speak to the people, I can almost see because they're not done it before. I can see my old self in that because it's quite overwhelming and daunting. But simple as this, the people that hate on you, they were never going to pay for your product. They were never going to buy your service. They were never going to help you. Like, honestly, fuck them. Like, if someone's ever going to say something negative towards what you're doing, they were never going to support your business anyway.
They were never going to succeed in their own lives with that mindset.
Yeah. And I think the more you just do things and just try it. And the last thing I think I'll say is that if you're not looking for the yellow car in the yellow car game, you don't see any. But as soon as you start saying, let's spot the yellow car, you see yellow cars. If you're not thinking of a new venture, a new idea, or you're not looking for a new instrument to buy, or you're not looking for music even, it doesn't just pop up. like, you don't just make a new track. You don't just make an amazing piece of content out. You do have those eureka moments, but they're not eureka moments. They usually manifest for weeks upon.
Yes,
Since there
exactly.
wasn't a eureka moment, I was thinking about different things for weeks building up to it. Then one day it clicks. And often people think these scientific inventions always happen. Like, I think it's, what's it called? Einstein and someone else. Like, they come up with these theories, and it's really interesting because when you look at the timeline of science, there's usually 2 or 3 people around the world who have actually come up with the same eureka
invention.
moment at the same time. But it's not because they thought the same thing. It's because things have to lead to ideas. Ideas don't come out of nowhere. Usually a problem happens, then you realize another problem, and then them two build, and then 2 weeks down the line, you might think, shit, I've got a sick idea. No, you didn't have an idea. You had these problems manifesting over weeks, and then you put them together. Your brain subconsciously wires things together, and then it grows into this thing that you magically thought of. I just finished a book called Black Box Thinking, and James Dyson speaks about this a lot. How when he made the Hoover, it wasn't a eureka moment really. He saw a problem with the Hoover, and it was the fact that it was just going into a bag, and then he thought about using the cylinder, and he found out someone had actually already tried to do it, but they didn't do it for long enough and persist with the invention. And he went and met a guy who was an expert in cyclone technology, and he managed to just keep going at it. And then particles of dust, it's not my forte. He just
James Dyson used to lecture at my university.
And he just speaks about how there isn't eureka moments. You kind of just put problems together and then just persist at it for a long period of time, and then it grows into something special.
Yeah, definitely. I think just people just need to take home that, like, I mean, I always preach this, like, be anything you want to be. Like, if you're mindful and if you work yourself out every day, like, you know, check in with yourself before you check in with anyone else. If you do that and have a right sort of strategy, you're either chipping away at it currently or you're reaping the rewards from it. That's if all of those boxes are ticked. So people watching this, know that, get inspired by that, and fucking get to work, because it's going to take 2 years before you start feeling anything, feeling any proper give, or in your case, you know, 6 months, which is amazing progress. But it doesn't happen.
It was 6 months, but when I look back, I was teaching music. I think what people got wrong, but a lot of people started teaching in the pandemic. But I'm buzzing because I've got like 3 years of teaching experience. So not to try and upsell what I do, but I know I'm a good teacher because I've taught for a long time. I think a lot of people are offering services where they've just tried to start teaching.
When they've just been producing by themselves.
There's a difference between teaching how to make music and being good at making music. And I think any member of SYNTHO can advocate that I can make anyone's type of music. I don't want to start dropping names, but we do artist features in there. So I'll reference a track. I'll say it, like, we've done a Trauma one. Alfie did it. Like, he's an amazing producer. We've got a Jocko one coming this week. Done an Archie Hamilton one. We do like 80s, 808 grooves, like 2000 UK tech house. And that comes from teaching for a long period of time. But yeah, the SYNTHO looks like it was a short kind of overnight, but it was actually like 3 years of me teaching. And then it kind of manifested. I was teaching loads of one-on-one people, teaching the same thing. I was like, shit. Then one day I had this idea, but it wasn't an idea. It was problems that built together, and then I was like, shit. But yeah, I think we've covered loads there, mate. And I've got I think we should move on to the questions for the end, the fun bit, because I need a wee actually. But I don't want to have to cut this.
Go.
Because when I watch like Joe Rogan and that, I never noticed. Did they go to the toilet? He must go for a wee because he's on there for like 3 hours.
He just pisses under the desk, I reckon.
I know. But yeah, I think it's dangerous in the morning because I've had a coffee, a cup of tea. It's just asking for a wee, isn't it?
I love Joe Rogan. I really sort of praise what he's doing, and if anything, like in the future, like I kind of want to go down that route. Not necessarily about you know, anything specific, but like just how he gets experts from all different fields on. And just like I think there's real legs in that.
It's very much like how I see this. I don't want this just to be a music podcast, and I want to help people in other ways. Like we spoke about today, I knew it would be a great conversation because I know that you can like clearly well educated and know about stuff that we've spoke about. But yeah, I think the being able to help people, it's like what we said about the diagram. Like I want to be able to help people that not just that are into music, but into self-development, into fitness, into yoga, into like different things, and it becomes really interesting then. Because I know today, I reckon anyone would benefit from this conversation, even if they don't agree with it all. There's bits they don't want to listen to. I don't listen to Joe Rogan and agree with everything he says, but
No.
that's important in itself, being able to take information that is relevant to you and relevant none that's not relevant to you. But yeah, it'd be cool, wouldn't it, one day to have something like his platform, getting paid to talk.
Definitely, and I kind of wanted to do something like that with the SUAT project in the sense that, like, I don't know if you've seen like Friday Night with SUAT or like the SUAT show, like the YouTube show I do basically, but like we very much want to take that to a point where like it's the same show, but every week I've got a different character on it. So like the first week might be like a pottery expert, you know, and they've got a wheel turning and I'm rolling up a bowl with them. And then while sort of like tweaking the bass knob on the mixer and stuff like that. Like that's the sort of level I want to get to. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to stop DJing. Like,
no, I love it, mate. I think there's more
to them about other stuff. It doesn't, and that's the point. If you're a DJ and you talk about DJing and you talk about music, then you're just a DJ. But if you're someone who, like you say, speaks about self-development, speaks about, right, how can I take this information that I've learned from my favorite thing and pass off the valuable stuff to other people? Self-development courses talking about, like we have here, not so focused about EQing a kick drum. Do you see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
by incorporating those demographics.
Yeah, I think it's really good. Just another one. I've kind of moved away from this. I kind of hate the word self-development. Like, it sounds just so cliche, I think, in 2021.
Right. Yeah.
I'm thinking about more like, I'm actually reading more kind of how to think differently and, you know, like how to treat failures with like learn from things.
Successes.
Yeah. And just think differently to other people and read more about psychology, things like that. But I couldn't recommend enough people just to pick up a book, even if you I said this before in a newsletter as well, that reading actually takes practice to get good at. I know it sounds obvious, we can all read, but most people can't even concentrate for more than 2 minutes. Like they can't, they go to the phone. So actually putting your head in a book is actually quite hard. But you know what's funny is I can't watch TV anymore. I keep going on my phone, but I can read a book for an hour, but I can't watch TV for 10 minutes.
I hate it. I feel like I'm wasting my time when I watch
I hate TV, but like I'll go and waste an hour. I could waste an hour on my phone, not a problem. Like admittedly, I'm a bad for my phone, but I just can't TV. I can't help but go on my phone. So I'd rather, I think reading a book's actually the only thing I can do to fully be not on my phone. Because if it's TV, I'll just pick it up and.
Yeah, definitely. Here's my 2 cents on that. Like, we spoke about meditation, right? And for anyone watching this, I recommend seriously, and because this is a lazy way of getting into meditation, go on Netflix and search Headspace Guides to Meditation. Right?
Yeah,
okay, so what I've learned from watching this thing, and before I watched this guy is watching, I am not a meditator. I'm not the kind of guy that's at peace and, you know, have some time for yourself. Like, I'm not that kind of guy at all, just because it just wasn't part of my lifestyle. Watch this thing, right? And what I've learned from watching this is not only how to meditate without actually meditating, without sitting down, you know, the cliche thing, without doing that. You can meditate without doing that. But what I have learned from it is all of these different things that people do: go for a walk, make their coffee in the morning, make their bed, read a book, go for a run and exhaust yourself. They are all forms of meditation. And you might not think that they are, but the reason they're forms of meditation is because in those moments, all you're thinking about is something that's nothing to do with your life. Whether that's, oh, look how rich this coffee is. Oh, look at the smell. Or I'm so exhausted from this run, I'm going to vomit in a sec. You're thinking about that. So you're not thinking about anything else. So
you can't think about two things at once. You can't. It's impossible. You can't think about two things at once. It's not possible. Even though you can try, but if you're listening to us, you can't think about anything else. But you can listen to us and think about something else, but then you're not thinking about us. Yeah.
Your attention is diverted, and your attention is worsened when you try and split it up between multiple sources. So I would encourage that. Sort of getting to where I am now, I haven't been a mindful guy. I haven't been that very much like, look how much I've done kind of thing. I haven't been the kind of guy that's gone, I'm really proud of myself right now. But if you can do that every day, in some form or another, whether that's going for a run and exhausting yourself, or sitting down and watching a Headspace thing and doing a guided meditation, you will feel so much better as an individual. And I kind of wish that I was harnessing that power last year. But again, like that's the beauty of being a teacher. We've already had our downfalls, so now we can tell people only how to do well.
Interesting link up to add. like we said earlier, you want to give value in your products. Headspace gave us value. They gave us a free, I know you got to pay for Netflix, but a free video what
Yeah,
Headspace is. I went and bought Headspace after it.
there you
They
go.
gave me
Yes,
something
a
free.
lot of people have done that.
That is a genius marketing technique from Headspace. That's all it
Yeah.
is. It's a marketing technique.
And that's exactly what people should be doing in their own business and brands.
Yeah.
You give away freebies, you give away samples, like on you'll put a clip on Instagram and people go, fuck, I didn't know that, I've got to buy this.
Yeah.
Right, it's about that value exchange. Like if I can offer people free content for my whole existence and then say, oh, but if you want a video that you can scroll through in a 360 view, then just become a Patreon. People are going to go, oh, okay, yeah, I want to do that. He's provided this all for free before, so now I'm going to part with £3.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Value exchange is a massive thing, and I wish, like, you know, I wish we had infinite time because I could go into such detail about all of this stuff, but people just don't realize some very, very basic, very, very valuable things that, in my opinion, should be part of a curriculum when you're at school. How can I, if I ever get into a depressed state, how can I get myself out of it? And often what it takes is someone who's been there in that depressed state to be telling you about how they got out of it, for you to go, oh my God, if he's done it, I can do it. Or, you know, if he's doubled his followers, then I can double my followers. Why can't I? We will have a fair chance. We will have the internet in our hands. So, like, I wish that we could talk indefinitely about it. But once you can harness your mindset, and provided, you know, these things go without saying, that you're physically fit as an individual, you need to be eating clean, healthy foods. Your brain will reflect what you put into it. If you're putting all kinds of animal products and you've got all kinds of various antibodies in your bloodstream from eating animal products and from eating, you know, fried chicken or whatever regularly, it's going to pay a toll on your brain. You're not going to function optimally. Your brain is a machine that lives off of glucose. So if you can feed it feed your blood and your body vitamins and minerals, and feed your brain clean glucose, you're going to feel fantastic. Like, I eat a copious amount of vegetables and carbs, right? People think that carbs are bad. You need carbs for your brain to work. If you're in a depleted state, you lose concentration. It's the first thing. If you're dehydrated, you lose concentration. These are basic things that any successful person will tell you they do. They eat healthy food. Now, again, the definition of healthy can be all kinds of things. For some people, it's avocado on toast. For some people, it's just a broccoli or whatever, right? Again, sliding scale with all of these things. But you need to be hydrated for optimal brain function. You need to be eating well for optimal brain function, and enough food. A lot of people don't eat enough food. And those two things go without saying, right? And then if you can just do something and chip away at it, then you're going to feel good about it, provided all of the things that we've spoken about in this interview, and you're going to succeed in it. That's just that people are almost scared to believe that. Pick up a camera, pick up whatever it is, a frying pan, and document yourself doing it. Document yourself growing, find your inner peace and experience it, and you'll do well in whatever it is.
Yeah, the last point I'm going to make before we go on to the questions is the marginal gains aspect of it. I've just bought a Whoop band and it measures that recovery, sleep, and I've got this because I've got to this point this month where I've really been on it with every aspect of my life, and it's like, how can I squeeze a bit more out of it? So if I can be able to sleep better, this is pretty extreme. I'm not telling everyone to go to this extreme.
No, but I get it.
I'm trialing it out. It's because I'm training a lot, like doing loads, and I want to know, am I doing too much? Is there room for more? And I guess having some metrics with this, I can really measure a bit more. But
in terms of the fitness thing, for me, like, I feel like I can keep going as long as I'm fueled up, as long as I'm providing my body with equal energy or more energy than I'm expending a day, right? So, like, when I'm on season doing all of that walking and stuff, I'm eating way more than I'm eating now, to stay fueled up. And a lot of people that might be watching this might be like, oh, I'm tired a lot of the time. You know, I kind of just can't be asked. I want to go to sleep a lot of the time. I lie in. If you're that kind of person, try drinking more water and try consciously making choices about what you put in your body. And there are two massive things that are going to impact your sleep quality. Your sleep is going to affect your rest and recovery. So, like, you are in a positive feedback loop. And I think that anyone who's very, very successful, even these guys that are old men like Warren Buffett, they eat healthy foods. Yeah. They watch what they eat. They drink water. They do these staple things that make you function optimally as a human. Because, like, don't forget, you can get depressed after you have a massive burger. Like, people can actually get depressed after they have just one burger from feeling of, oh, I'm going to be fat, or what's it going to do when it's in my body? So imagine if you do that every single day for every single meal for your whole life, you're going to be a less optimally functioning human than someone who's eating the right foods, who's vitamin rich, who is hydrated maximally all the time. So yeah,
I agree, mate. I think it's funny because I'm really happy we've touched on things, not just music, and it's kind of what goes into being successful. I don't like to use the word successful because it's like, depends what you measure it as. But I guess people who are productive, I think, is a better word. That you can't fucking stay up till 3 a.m. and get up at 7. And I guess that's why the reason, like a couple of years ago, when I was partying loads and shit, like no wonder I didn't have any time to think of what else I could do, because I didn't really have any brain power left to give, because I wasn't like by no means like a nutter, but it was I was going out enough.
I know, but you have to get to that state where like you're just relentless, and rain or shine, you're there. Not sometimes not even because you want to, because you have to, because okay, the reason you have to is because you don't want to be the guy that goes, yeah, but what if I just did that extra day that I said I was going to do each day? How much further would I have got? If I planned to do that, then that's what I'm doing.
Well, this is like the inputs and outputs. If your input is freaky and it's like crazy, this guy's borderline obsessed, then you're going to get like those results which people go, fucking hell, he's just done that in this amount of time. He's got this amount of views. It's because he did that, like the amount of work.
And most people, when you tell them how much work it is to do, obviously, like, you can't summarize how much work it is, right? Like any summary you do isn't going to do it justice, but most people are already out when you tell them how much work it is. Bear in mind, in this world where you can become anything you want, the competition's higher. There's more people doing stuff. There's more people doing unique stuff, harnessing the same technology that you're harnessing. So get after it, because someone else is going to do it better otherwise.
I think the hardest working people I know actually are the ones that don't seem to have to work hard because they just do it. And I think it takes practice to get to that point. Like, it's never, when you first start off, the workload seems a lot, but then the more you do it, it's like we said before, like discipline gives you freedom, and the discipline then is ingrained. And then,
and if you can alleviate your workload by knowing that I fucking love what I'm doing right now. If you can alleviate it in the sense that this isn't work to me, I'm working right now, but this isn't work. This is my passion. This is what I'm doing. Then you never work a day. Right?
I was running. I was on a run last weekend, and I said to Murray, who I was running with, I was like, you know what kept me going on? I ran a 15K before Christmas. I was like, the fact I chose to do this. When you're running, don't forget, no one's got to rocket up like bit up your backside. That you don't have to keep running. You're choosing to run, and I think if you can carry that across with everything you choose to do, it makes it that much easier. That like you don't have to do what you can just.
You're not being told to do anything. You can just have fun. If you can really, and again, that's this mindfulness thing. Shout out Headspace. If you can really embrace everything around you, like I just love that I'm having a conversation with someone new today that's not my family. That's what I'm really, really embracing about it. Someone might go, oh, I've got to get on an interview for the next 2 hours. Do you see what I'm saying? If you can really embrace each moment of your life, you're going to be so at peace with it. And then working is just going to be fun. I have fun what I'm doing. You have fun making music, and now you're monetizing and getting revenue from teaching something you love. And you're probably in yourself learning more as you teach stuff, not just about you being a teacher, but about production skills. So
I think it's funny because the hours that accumulate when you're doing something that you can't ever imagine where it's going to take you. So like the things you've learned from doing your live streams and about social media, how to DJ better, how to carry the thing more efficiently. These are things that you couldn't really imagine you'd ever actually understand. But as the more you do it, you're like, shit, like I actually know so much about this said topic and areas. It's kind of frightening actually when you get that deep into something.
Yeah, definitely. It is frightening. It's that thing, like, it should scare you. Like,
I think so.
To various degrees, obviously, you know, not everyone wants to be a world star DJ, but like we both do. So like that should scare us. And like anyone watching this probably wants to, you know, make an advance in the music scene or better their brand or even as an individual. Like, think of things that scare you, because they're really going to be driving you to wake up, because they're the things that you want to tick off your bucket list. You know, if you hadn't set any goals, then you're not working for everything. Each time when you wake up in the rain and it's freezing and your knuckles are cold, those are the things that are going to keep you on track.
Yeah.
So dream big, boys and girls.
Well said, mate. So let's move on to the questions. At the end of each podcast, I'm doing 10 questions, which are easy to answer, but everyone seems to struggle to answer them. So it's
Okay.
it's always pretty funny. So what's your
Is this
favorite?
trivia? Is this
No,
trivia?
it's not. It's just there's no right or wrong answer. It's just a
Okay,
question
fine.
for you. But
Yeah.
what's your favorite book?
My favorite book. I don't have a favorite book, to be honest with you.
Are you a reader then?
No, absolutely not.
How
at
do you
all.
collect your information then? Podcasting, news?
Yeah, a lot of online stuff. I just read a lot online, really.
So you read books, not books.
I say like at uni, obviously we had loads of books, but like that shit's intense. I don't like that. No, I don't. I honestly, mate, I couldn't tell you a favorite book. I'm not a reader.
So favorite podcaster then?
Probably Joe Rogan, just from the variety on it. Like I tend to watch the non famous ones.
Yeah,
because like, you know, everyone's heard the Kevin Hart one 8,000 times, or it's got however many million streams it's got. So I tend to watch stuff that's actually gonna be a different person's viewpoint. You know, to blogs as well. Like I read all kinds of stuff on Reddit about just random stuff that might help you out in the future. You know, it's about broadening your portfolio at the end of the day, this life experience. So diversify. Don't just read about one thing. Like I really do enjoy engineering. So like I watch a lot of like engineering, like how pistons work and all kinds of stuff like that. That's just how my brain likes to do stuff. But I've never been a reader, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. I think Joe Rogan gets about 120 million plays a month or a week or something crazy like that. He's actually crazy. Like, he's like the most popular man. He's probably got the most power in media in the world right now. Like,
yeah. Like, he could say Dogecoin on a live stream and it would completely rock it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So what's your favorite quote?
At the moment, the less that owns you, the less that you own, the less that owns you. Just because it's really relevant to me in my life right now. I've been drilling away at this project for ages, and you know, I've only sorted out the people around me. Like I haven't gone and bought an expensive car like a lot of people do, or any of this stuff, and I'm really using that to keep me going. Like I don't want to own a lot of stuff. I just want to be content with my current life. And
I love that.
all of the benefits that come from what I'm doing are going to sort everyone else out around me before I even buy myself anything, kind of thing. And I think that if you can live by that frugal mindset and really value in what you currently have and how good your situation is right now, then you're going to set yourself up for a great win ultimately.
I like that, mate. So what's your go-to cheat meal?
I'm a fan of ribs, right? Like I eat vegan most of the week, but I'm a proper fan of ribs. Like, and when I say fan, like I eat the cartilage. I go right down to crunching it all down. Your face.
I can't eat off the bone, mate.
Oh really?
Like, you would not catch me eating anything off a bone, I tell you.
So what are you, like a breast fillet kind of?
Yeah, strictly. Like it's no boneless banquet, mate. It's a butterfly chicken, or it's a boneless banquet. Well, I've not had KFC in about 10 years, but yeah. Biting a bone, man, just knocks me sick.
Oh really? No, mate, I go all the way through it. Like I eat the knuckles off of chicken, but I'm a vegan.
But I can't what you say now, mate.
spare ribs is sort of my go-to thing, like salt and pepper spare ribs from the Chinese.
Biggest lesson of 2020?
Biggest lesson of 2020?
In one sentence.
Okay, in one sentence. Enjoy the process.
Love it. That's probably the biggest thing I preach. I've not done that one in a while, but yeah, enjoy the process is so important.
Be present and enjoy this, and enjoy the ride.
So if you were locked up in prison, who would you ring to break you out?
Who would I ring to break me out? Oh, I don't know anyone like seriously dangerous.
What about anyone that knows the guy?
See, these questions make you proper think.
Yeah.
Well, my girlfriend got me a drone for Christmas, and she's actually really sick at flying it. So I guess I'd get her to fly in like the keys through the window, and then I'd probably just I'd knock everyone out on the way out, obviously, but unlock the door at the end.
I wouldn't be ringing you, mate. I'll tell you that. What's your favorite ever TV series?
I'm a real fan of Breaking Bad because of all of like the hidden.
It's sick, innit? Like it's such a good. I need to rewatch it because I bet it's so good the second time round.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's that thing that you notice stuff the second time round, like all kinds of trickery from the directors that are like, fuck, they really thought about this, like each thing. I love Ozark. I love,
So good.
I love him as an actor. I think it's Martin Freeman, is it?
Jason
Is that his
Statham or
name?
something.
No, from the
No.
Ozark. I don't know, but he's an unbelievable actor, and you can just get lost in that sort of stuff. I really like thriller, drug crime kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think we all. It's like a classic in it. Have you seen Narcos?
Yeah, of course, Narcos is
Yeah.
up there. Yeah,
It's a
Narcos
good
is up
one.
there.
That.
They've portrayed Pablo in a really good way. Not that it looks like him, but he's very Pablo Escobar, like such a serious geezer.
Yeah, it's
like
class.
you would and you get goosebumps and nerves just watching it, man. Like that's what this stuff should do. Like, and with anything, like good cinema makes you feel emotions.
Yeah.
Good online makes you feel certain ways. So if you can make people feel value, here we are.
What was the best purchase of 2020, non-music related? It can't be your rig.
The best purchase. I didn't buy anything in 2020.
Nothing.
I got a drone. I got a drone at Christmas. Actually, that was in 2020.
So
like,
was that a good one?
Yeah, I've always wanted a drone, like just to razz around. And it's like I take my dog for a walk now. I just walk the drone.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Pokemon cards.
Ah, yeah, I saw this. So you're an avid collector.
Yeah, I started collecting in 1999 when I was like bare young, but I didn't understand the value of it then. No, not that it wasn't valuable then, right? Because no one knew it was going to get to where it is now. So I swapped all of my Pokemon cards for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But big mistake.
How much is your collection worth a lot?
No, not that much. Not as much as other people's. Like I have some really decent cards. I have a £3,000 card.
So what's your value of your collection then?
I don't know, £5,000 maybe.
It's not bad, is it, for a few pieces of card?
No, it's not bad. But the reason is because I collected it again when I was like in year 7. I started collecting it then, and then it made another comeback. So like those cards are actually my most valuable, the ones from year 7. But
it's one of them, innit? Like you think it's too late to start now, but if you started now, then in 50 years' time, they'd be worth something. Which is another lesson for life. Like you need to start now.
Yeah. Stop waiting. Exactly. Yeah. The whole life lesson there, Joshy.
Do you believe in fate?
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, I really do believe in fate, and not in the sense that this was meant to be, but like you can create what's meant to be. So like it's not a miracle when your results start paying dividends into your bank account when you've been persistently working at something. So that's the kind of fate I deal with. Similarly, like if it's meant to rain when you're meant to go out on your exercise or do your live stream, that's how the weather is. So just go crack on and deal with it, and you'll learn something new because it's raining and you're freezing, and you'll add another feature to your mindset.
Yeah, good one. So last question, one word to describe Suart.
That's a bit arrogant, I think.
It's hard, isn't it, actually? I tried to answer this myself and I couldn't come up with an answer.
Revolutionizing.
Revolutionary or revolution? You'd be revolutionary, wouldn't you?
Okay, I am revolution. No, but that's not what I'm trying to convey. I'm not trying to say I'm revolutionary. I'm trying to say I'm going to be revolutionizing the dance music.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think
that would be an adverb. That would be describing what you're doing, not you, I think.
Okay. All right, one more to describe Suart.
Nah, let's leave. Ari, it was a good one. That. Well, I'll give you it, mate. Actually, there's one more question though.
Go on. Keep going.
Can I ask everyone? This is the good one that seems to pick everyone's brains. What do you know now that you wish you knew then?
What people value when they're not allowed to have anything, like in this lockdown. So what I wish I knew was, I wish I knew what people really valued as a content creator.
Yeah.
When I first started, right? Yeah. And if I had that, then I think I would be much further than I am right now. Again, like hindsight, don't be the type of person that like, oh, I wish I did this, because your journey makes you who you are. And you might, there's all kinds of butterfly effects going on all the time. So, but to anyone watching this, I wish I knew the values that I've told in this interview when I started 3 years ago, because I would be much further, because I wouldn't have had to learn it myself.
Yeah, it's the same here. I think that's what's amazing with the course I'm offering. like, you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. You don't have to. And I think it's almost, it's stupid to not, I'm not saying do my course, go and do it, go and get one to someone else. But
Just learn.
Why make the mistakes someone else has already made, and you can pay them to you're saving essentially like years by paying someone. That's the beauty of having like mentors, coaches. They've made the mistake, then go and pay them, and then you don't have to make the same mistake. But yeah, it's a good one. But also, I think the failures along the way are what shapes who you are, and without them
100%.
failures, we wouldn't be here.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. So to finish up, mate, I think you've mentioned kind of what's coming, but I have a feeling you want to kind of keep what's coming a bit secret as well.
Yeah. We always kind of want to just surprise people with it, and just again, like I'm not going to come back unless it's with something completely fresh. But I will say that when travel corridors open up, there's going to be lots of international SUAT. And this year I'm just
sailing with SUAT.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Yeah, sightseeing with SUAT. We've been in contact. I guess I can say this. Red Bull have got in contact for Dubai and the United Arab Emirates to do an extreme with SUAT. And so there's a lot of stuff in terms of like video content wise and opportunities. I actually just had a gig at Amazon headquarters in Paris cancelled, which is a real bummer, because I wanted that on the portfolio. But this year is really about music, and I want to establish myself with at least five decent releases on some labels coming up.
Nice.
But before I then go on any other opportunities with collaborations and that kind of stuff, I just want to set the tone and let people know that this is serious, and the video content is my tool.
Yeah, I think the releases, I reckon I think that's quite a big target to go from nothing. I think that'll come in time. My lesson, well, not my lesson, but what I could say is that releasing music takes like 2 years longer than whatever you think, but it's good to kind of, you've got to factor in, if you aim for 2 years, it's going to take 4 years. But you've got to think of like, there's so many factors that you can't control, such as the label's release schedule. Will the labels want to release certain things like that? But yeah, mate, I've got absolute zero doubt that this is going to the top. And I have to admit, when I first saw it, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, because it was all the lockdown, the world had gone crazy. I was like, one more crazy, and it's now a mobile DJ.
How do you think I fucking feel carrying the thing around? I'm like, I'm an absolute nonce doing this. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? What about a marathon with Suart? That's got to be on the cards one day.
Yeah. Well, actually, before lockdown came, I was actually kind of in contact with Guinness for doing a world record stream length duration. But now
it's long though, isn't it? I don't think that's that impressive, you know.
Well, there's a couple of different categories. There's one which is the longest DJ set in a radio venue is something like, I want to say, I can't remember what it is. I want to say it's like 100 hours straight or something like that.
It's not good for you though, man. That's it's really the effects of missing sleep makes you ill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what we're doing now is the longest mobile DJ set.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, because no one else can really do it.
Yeah. I don't advocate. There was a famous one. I think a good session now and then's fine. But I think there was like the guy that did the longest ever radio set, not DJing. I think he ended up like, he lost the plot. He stayed up for like 7 days, you know, DJ.
Is that some guy in a Polish bar or something?
Yeah, it wasn't DJing, but it was a radio thing in New York, and like completely lost the plot. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be, I'm excited to see where it goes, because I definitely thought like, where's it going next? And then you know where it's going, which is amazing to see, because it takes some thinking. And I know all too well that you've got to kind of think what's next. And
yeah, you got to constantly be scheming and have this feeling of never satisfied, always hungry. But at the same time, be thankful and reflective and grateful for where you've come and where you are now.
Enjoy the moment is important.
Exactly. Enjoy the moment and be prosperous for the future, and just fucking work your ass off, guys. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. So I reckon if everyone has watched this, if you've not following me, not following Suart, obviously follow both. If you've got any suggestions for Suart in the YouTube comments, that could be a nice way to increase engagement. Whoever's got the best one, maybe I could, I'll think of some cool prize. But
cool.
Yeah, I've not plugged. I keep forgetting to tell everyone. The last podcast, as I'm doing this, we've got about 1,800. It's on 1,800, but the subscribers are only on 330. So like you said, that means people are watching it but not subscribing it. And the best way for it to spread is subscribing it, sharing it, all that. But yeah, anything else to add, mate?
No, I hope people have listened to me waffle enough and just gained some value from what I've been talking about. I'm always only a message away, which is something that I kind of want to keep preaching. Like if you're stuck, message me, and I'll always get around to replying to it with regard to anything. And just thank you for having me as well, mate. It's been a good conversation. I'm happy to be here.
Pleasure, mate, and I'm sure we'll do something one way or another in the future.
Oh, we know. Yeah, of course. We need to get in the studio.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Mate.
I need to learn with as many people as possible.
So, on that note, we can wrap it up there, bro. I will speak to you very soon, and thanks again for your time, bro.
Thanks, Joshy.
Respect, bro.
Bye, guys.
Day, mate.
Bye, SYNTHO. Peace.
Bye, bro.